What's good, Baltimore, and welcome to the presumably final episode of What's Good Baltimore. It was a good run, wasn't it? We made it to like 6 episodes. But I don't know. Who knows when I'll be back here? Who knows if I'll film again here? I'm not saying this is the end or anything. I'm not saying this is like over, but at least for now, we can officially say that What's Good Baltimore Season 1, whatever you call it, is done. And we will be moving forward to, you joining me in Brooklyn and seeing what that's all about. And yeah, it's been a crazy week for me. Thank God there's so much going on. I mean, yeah, the move is particularly the part that has me the most overwhelmed, because I'm literally going to be upending my entire life here in about 5 days from when I'm filming this right now. And I'm going to need to pack up my whole apartment, move it all to New York, and I've just been balancing work, because I still need the money, so I've still been going to work, even though I gave them my 2 weeks and everything. But balancing work and finding time to, relax a little bit at least. Get all my art together, see the people I care about, see my loved ones before I leave them. So there's just been so much going on, and it's been crazy trying to balance it all at once. And so that is why today I have decided to change things up a bit. And I'm sure you can immediately tell I do not have the obnoxiously large handheld microphone today. I have this little lapel that came with this little kit that I bought. And I brought my sketchbook, because in the chaos of everything changing all at once, I have not had a lot of time to draw and, spend some time by myself. Just me, a pencil, and a piece of paper, just drawing. And I think that's always been a really important activity in my life, is no matter what's going on, having a little book at my disposal, and being able to draw or write or really just express myself in some way with a creative instrument and a piece of paper. And so today I've decided for our what would you call it, our pinnacle choice of location today, we are at the top of Federal Hill in Baltimore. And if you're from Baltimore, you must know what Federal Hill is. Federal Hill is a classic spot to visit. But for those of you who don't know, Federal Hill is this really well-constructed park that is just on the top of this really steep hill. So it takes some work to get here, don't get me wrong. I rode my bike here today, and that that was a lot. Though luckily, I know you can't experience the sensation of weather through a screen, but man, the cold breeze is starting to come through Baltimore, and I could not be more excited. I am a lot more of a winter person. I like jackets, I like layers, I like snow. Summer's great and all, but I feel like once you get used to the season, then you start wanting the other one to come back. But I'm excited for also fall. I love that perfect in-between of, having wind and a cold breeze, but it's still not cold enough where you're shivering your ass off if you didn't prepare well enough. I was talking about Federal Hill, wasn't I? Yes. So, yeah. So for those of you who have not been here, you need to come here at some point, because all the work that it takes to find parking and bike up here and get here is rewarded with one of, if not the most beautiful views in all of Baltimore. you get a complete 360 view of the harbor, the American Visionary Art Museum, the factories, the row homes. There's so much going around, and if you take a stroll even once, just slowly through this entire park, it's like a big square, you can really get to see some of the most beautiful vistas of what this city has to offer. So you definitely need to check it out if you haven't already. And so yeah, I've decided to bring my sketchbook out today and just draw my surroundings. You know, there's birds. This is one of the best spots you'll actually be able to find nature. I just saw squirrels roaming around. There's a little playground. There's people walking through. A lot of people brought their dogs. I've gotten to hang out with a couple of cute pups while I was setting up my camera today. Weirdly enough, if you watched the last episode, I was hanging out with a molted cicada shell. There is another one here. I must be like a magnet to them because every location I pick, there just so happens to be a little a little shell from these guys. And you might be able to hear them in the background as well, because they've been chirping up a storm all across the city. But it's really nice to be out here and just talk with you guys and be alone for a minute and not have to think about all of the stuff that I have going on right now. I mean, it's a madhouse. I've also been like finding ways of throwing in making art as well. Like I'm trying to Hail Mary this one last woodcut before I leave, which like I guess I could do when I get to New York, but it's just like I have easy access to a French tool press here, so it's like, I don't know, I'm trying to get that done before I leave, but obviously that's throwing a wrench in the works. But yeah, my week is packed. Even today, it's about 11 a.m. and immediately after this, I am going to see one of my friends that I haven't seen in a while. We're going tubing in a river somewhere, which is like another thing where you're like, oh, how is this happening in Baltimore? How am I going to go tubing in Baltimore? So I'll let you guys know how that goes. But there's that. I've got a few other little like boy dates that I've planned before I leave, going out to some of my favorite spots. I've picked a different person and a different place to eat every single day for this week. So I'm going to be blowing a lot of money on just kind of buying food that I'm going to miss when I leave. And I'll have to find some way of telling you guys about it because, oh my God, there's some really underrepresented food spots here in Baltimore that I feel like more people should know about. But yeah, I'm excited, I'm scared, I'm really just overwhelmed with a ton of contrasting feelings. But I'm at least happy that I got the ending to living here that I kind of wanted. Ever since I came to Micah and started living in Baltimore and having my own place, I always liked to throw these like Great Gatsby style parties where I just kind of make a poster, send it out into the world, and then just let everyone trash my house, if that makes sense. Even if it's a bunch of like, it's usually, majority people I know, but I kind of love having strangers in my house that are just like, hey, we heard about this house party, and they'll come by and I'll meet them and they'll just get to be like, oh, like, how do you, or like, I don't know, I'll just be like, I'll talk to them and then they'll find out it's like, oh, this is actually my birthday party, or like, oh, this is actually a party about me, and it's always fun meeting people that way. But I threw one last little get-together before I leave and got way too white girl wasted, as I do, and yeah, but it was nice. I got to see a lot of people I care about and got to say my goodbyes, because it's crazy. There's dozens of people here that I need to say goodbye to and actually need a memorable experience with before I go, but it's impossible to fit them all into 1 week before I leave. So it was kind of just like everyone all in one place, got to say my goodbyes to everyone. So it was really sweet. That was the ending I was kind of looking forward to. So now that, I've put a cute little bow on saying goodbye to my friends, it's just really a matter of finally packing up and getting the hell out of here. But as I look around, I'm just reminded of how much I'm gonna miss this city. It is beautiful, man. It's one of a kind, and you really can't understand it till you come here. But that's also how I feel about Brooklyn. So I'll probably be saying the exact same stuff, because as you'll probably come to find, I'm gonna be contradicting myself constantly on this show, with my art, with everything. That's the reason I make artwork that's so personal, is because the person I am in that moment in time is going to be completely different than the person that is in a few weeks, maybe even in a few days, who knows. I feel like I am constantly in a state of changing my point of view, my character, my personality. And so with these works that I, especially as of late, have been making, it's like I'm trying to capture these fleeting moments of my existence, whether they be romantic, lonely, maybe they just be admiring the place I'm in at the time. But I've really been trying to focus on capturing moments that won't last forever. Maybe even moments that are just meant to last for a day, for a few hours, and then never to be repeated, reconnected with. That sort of fleetingness, that's what I've been really focused on lately. You could even consider right now to be one of those moments. I'm drawing this park, and sure, I will always be able to come back to this park and draw what I see in front of me, but I will never be able to recreate this feeling that I am currently existing within right now, The weather is just right, and I'm in this state of great change, and there are so many different moments where it's like you can't recreate them, and that's the beauty of it. You can make art about it, you can make evidence that it existed, but you'll never be able to truly recreate a moment. And so that's what I've really been focusing on. Specifically the moments with other people, because I feel like I've, especially as of late, just gotten to meet and connect with a bunch of new people. And it's been nice because I haven't been doing that a lot. I've kind of been hanging out with the same group of people, which is good because, I love these people and I would not trade them for the world. But I haven't met new people in a while, and I've been doing that a lot lately. And I kind of want to capture that, because sometimes I meet these people and it goes further, and other times it's like I meet them and it's over. It's like, all right, cool, we don't vibe. But yeah, I feel like that is part of the fact that I feel like I'm constantly changing. I'm in these different, call me Taylor Swift, because I feel like I'm always in these different eras of my life, My aesthetic and my series of work is always changing and evolving, and I want to make something of it before it's gone forever, Because it's very rare that I backtrack, If I make a series of work, it's always very personal, but I won't feel that way forever. Dogwater Beach, for instance, that thesis series I made, I I told everyone, I was like, oh yeah, like I'm gonna keep the series going after school, and I want to make more wood blocks, and I had plans for it. I didn't touch that series at all after that big one got finished, and it's never going to be revisited, ever. I'm through with that part of my life. I have moved on from those feelings that I felt, and Dogwater Beach is a complete project because of that fact, because I am not going back to it anymore. It's done, it exists in the world, and it's been printed. I'm not going to reprint them or anything like that. I'm just going to simply, put a pin in it. There's a really loud cicada. Hopefully that's not bugging you guys. These motherfuckers are really trying to breed. But, and then the series that I'm working on now, I'm kind of flopping between two different collections of work right now. One that's extremely personal and vulnerable, and one that's a little more story-based around like to work in an environment with a certain type of people in a strange work organizational environment. But all that is to say that I've really tried to find value in making work and making series of work that capture whatever moment or feeling or place I'm in at the moment. And that's why they're so temporary, because I don't always hold those feelings forever. They don't always last for long periods of time. Some last longer than others. Sometimes, I'm even surprised I could think about and work with Dogwater Beach for an entire year. But I think it's because those feelings were so developed, and I had been thinking about them for the past, 5 years, that I just kind of culminated everything I knew I felt into one place. But, these new works, I don't know, who knows how long I'll feel the way I do and how long I'll make what I make, but it's constantly changing, and that's something I appreciate about being an artist, is that I don't have to cater to a specific trend if I don't want to. I can just make what I feel is right for me in the moment, whether it will sell or not. And I think this kind of connects with a realization I had to make a couple months ago, where I found that I had really been living my life for the future. I was living in a time that didn't even exist yet. And I had been doing this, I think, ever since I graduated high school. Because what happened when I graduated is, everything was so volatile. I came to the understanding in college that, everything is now my responsibility. I am the creator of my own future. I need to be responsible. I need to invest time in things that matter and people that matter, in making choices that are going to get me far in life. And I didn't even realize that was dictating my life, was thinking about my future and thinking about who I was going to be years from now. Like watching a dream and then doing everything you could to create that dream and make it a reality. And what you're sacrificing, what I was sacrificing in doing so, was the present. I was not giving the people that were in my life in that moment the time of day. I was not giving myself the time I needed. I was not spending valuable time living in the present. And that is more important than some people know, than I knew. One of my distant friends, Oliver, he's in Atlanta right now. He's a botanist, super fucking cool. me and him, he told me a lot about how important it is to truly live right now. You know, it's agonizing and it's anxiety-inducing to be constantly thinking about if you're gonna succeed, if you're gonna do great, if the things that you've been working on are going to be fruitful. And you don't think about the things that you just do for fun, like the things that are not meant to progress you in life, that are not meant to boost you forward in your career. You know, you miss out on the chances to just have fun in your life and be young and be excited about things and make mistakes that ultimately will affect your future in the positive because you'll learn. But by focusing all your time on the future, you get less of this. You do not get the chance to truly explore and have fun. And so it took me a bit to really adjust to that mindset, a new mindset of realizing not everything needs to be, you know, an element towards my success. Not everything needs to be thinking about the future. I don't need to live in the head of myself in a place where I don't even know where I'll be, you know, because in reality, you know, you can try all you want to predict the future and plan the future, but, you know, to an extent, there's only so much power you have over that. You know, I didn't expect I'd be where I am today. I didn't expect I'd be going to New York. I couldn't have foreseen the place I'm at right now and the feelings I have right now whatsoever. And there is beauty in that. I'll tell you that much. It's good to not know what to expect. It's good to not know what's going to happen. Keep things interesting, am I right? And I feel like if you're in a similar boat, if you're super stressed out about the future, if you're so invested in what you're going to be, what you're going to turn into, just don't think about it. Just let it happen. You're going to turn into whatever you do. You're going to experience whatever happens in life. You're gonna be what you're destined to be. And you can work hard towards a future and what you want to be, but you don't need to absorb your whole life in it, because that's just going to make you miserable, and that's actually going to impede the progress that you are trying to have towards a better life. And so, you know, for instance, me moving to Brooklyn, I'm really excited because I'm going to be kind of alone. You know, I'm going to be closer to family, and I'm going to have a few friends, but I am going to be so, like, I don't know, I'm going to be forced into the opportunity to be alone and really discover what it's like to be in this city and spend time by myself. Go to the movies by myself. Go to the park by myself, like I have today. And really just discover what it's like to be an individual. Because, oh man, I know I keep reiterating this from previous episodes, but you know, that's something I haven't really explored a lot of, is myself and my life alone. I was at work yesterday, and I was cleaning up the barista machine, the espresso machine, and my coworker, her and I are talking, and I ask her, I'm like, so what do you like doing when you go out? Like, what do? You like going to the movies? You like, I don't know, going out to bars? You like karaoke? What do you like doing aside from making art? And she's like, oh, I don't go out. And she's like, I stay inside all day, and I binge things on Netflix, and she's like, I sometimes have friends over, but she's like, I like my alone time. I like being inside, and I like just being lazy and making art. And she's a painter, so she makes these really large, gorgeous works of art in a studio. And her describing her life to me, where she just makes art a couple hours a day and then spends time inside, relaxing, watching TV, cooking for herself. And that is so mind-blowing to me. And it really should not be. The idea of just being so content with being lazy and by yourself. because I'm a workaholic. I'm always driven by, making as much work as possible, getting shit done so efficiently, doing it now. And, I don't get to be lazy ever. I don't let myself be lazy, and therefore I don't relax a lot. And so that builds a lot of stress on me as a person. And that's something that I've had to spend time to control, because when you find that you can relax and you can spend time with other people or yourself, you realize that it actually prevents that burnout that you always fear as an artist, that you're always worried, I'm gonna hate what I do out of nowhere and I'm not gonna have any ideas. And what I found is that if you just take the time to not overthink shit and not live towards a future, and if you just live in the present and where you are now and spend time with the people you're with now, enjoy the city where you currently live, you will be creatively fulfilled, and you will find that burnout is much easier to avoid than you thought. I've never been burned out, and I've had multi-year projects that I've worked on for so long, and everyone's always asked me, specifically with my comic, for instance, Dust. I worked on that for 7 years before finally being like, cool, I'm gonna let it sit and see if it can find a publisher right now. But I worked on it straight for 7 years, and there was never a single day where I hated that project, where I regretted it, where I didn't like it, where I looked at it and I'm like, what is this? I always knew what it was. And part of that is because I allowed myself to take breaks. It took me years to make chapters. They were 50 pages. They took a year, maybe more sometimes. And that is because if I had dedicated every single day to that comic, eventually I would have burned out. If I dedicated every hour to making that comic and not taking time to relax and enjoy my time and myself, I know myself well enough, and I know that I would have grown to hate it, and I would have stopped making it altogether, and it would have been over, dead from there. And so if you're worried about that, if you're worried about burnout, just make sure you're taking the time to enjoy life in the present. And not even just for a career in art, just in general. Make sure that you are taking the time to enjoy the place you're in and truly understand what it is like to be happy in the moment. And those are the moments that I'm really trying to capture with my work as of late, because everything is fleeting. The happiness you feel now, the sadness you feel now, the anger, it's temporary. It's going to change. You constantly feel something else. And there are two ways that you can look at it, and two ways that I like to capture it. There are moments that happened. You lived in the moment. You enjoyed, you took the time to really experience something, and, it happened. And now you can look back on it with reminisce, and you can enjoy reliving that feeling. And I enjoy reliving that feeling through making art about it, because that's like a physical, framed reminder. Hey, remember that moment you shared with this person? Remember this conversation you had that really stuck with you? Now you can look back on it all the time and smile that it happened. But then there are also times where you, in fact, mourn things that happen in your life. And this is because it was so good and you want it back, but you know it's not coming back. And simultaneously, you can also mourn things that didn't even happen. You can look back on a moment, and I know I've done this plenty, where I look back and I think, I could have done this better. I could have made this happen if I had just done this. And you look back on it with regret because you think, I could have changed something if I was just different, if I could go back in time and make things different. And maybe that is true. Maybe you could make things different. But you gotta just realize that you are here in this moment, in the present, for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. And just look at it that way. Even if you don't believe in some higher power, or like, I don't know, I'm like agnostic or whatever the fuck, I don't believe in God. But I do believe that everything that is happening is fate, is supposed to happen for us. So don't let whatever's going on in your life right now get you down, because there are going to be new moments that come into your life eventually, you know? And so that's what I try and capture. Whether good or bad, I live to create emotional moments through paper where I can always look back on them and know that they happened, and how I feel about it, whether I mourn it, whether I reminisce about it, whether I regret it, these are the feelings that I alone can feel, but I hope that others can find a way to relate to in some way when it's hung up in an exhibition hall or a gallery of some sort. I hope everyone can find a connection with my work. I hope everyone can find a connection with what I speak on this show, because that's really all I live for, is my own emotions and capturing the beautiful moments that I've gotten to experience in life. And it's always that type of work that I appreciate the most about other artists, is when they take raw, very specific emotion and places in their life, and they talk about it as if it were the past, because it is. They have it up on the wall, it's framed, and when they describe the feelings and emotion, they're referring to the past. And that's always important, because that shows growth. That shows that they have moved forward in life from this experience. You know, I want proof that I am growing. I want proof that I am constantly changing, because if I'm doing neither, then I'm sitting still. And that is not going to get me anywhere. It's not going to get anyone anywhere. Sitting still, not changing, not growing, it's going to be digging your own grave. Man. I think that's all for today. And I hope that whoever you are, wherever you are, you take the time to do kind of what I did today, you know? Know when you haven't been spending enough time with yourself. Know when you haven't been alone. Know when you've been living too far into the future. And truly take in the present. Go on a walk in your neighborhood. Go on a walk in a random neighborhood next door. Go spend time with a person you haven't spoken to in a while that maybe you're like, I don't know if I'm still friends with this person. I don't know if they still like me. Just text them. Follow them, hit them up, let them know that you're still thinking about them, and just live in the present and don't stress so much about the future, if only for a couple hours. Just truly be one with exactly how you feel right now. It's a meditative feeling to be in when you're truly in touch with exactly how you feel right now in this moment. And so I hope all of you are able to find that. And I hope you have an easy time doing so, because sometimes it's hard. Don't get me wrong. It took me years to stop living in the future, but I hope it doesn't take you long. And so whoever you are, wherever you are, I'm thinking of you. I'm wishing you the best. And so long for now. I will see you all in Brooklyn. I hope General Samuel Smith is cool with me sitting in front of him for an entire hour, covered in bird shit.